Hi everyone, it's Hewett, an Executive Managing Partner at ChiuGroup, and we're back here today with another video on nonprofit theory. So this is essentially explaining the conceptual framework and the idea behind not-for-profit organizations. Like, why does it even exist? What do we have not-for-profits for? And how can we use that and leverage that idea to grow our nonprofit organizations? So let's start from the beginning. We can't really talk about nonprofit theory, at least I don't think we can, without talking about this guy. Yep, that guy. That is John Locke. And so many of you may recognize him as the famed English philosopher and physician. And he believed in the idea of limited government. The fact that government shouldn't really be intervening in our lives except to help secure our right to life and property. And obviously that idea was back in the 1600s. But if we take a look at how things are like today, even to this very day, things are not that much different. Because our government is still highly politicized and highly polarized, right? When we think about it, we still have conservatives and liberals. And the conservatives believe in the form of limited government, the fact that government agencies should not be intervening in most aspects of our lives, while the liberals believe that it's the government's duty and responsibility to ensure the welfare of all of its citizens and to extend benefits to everyone in this country. And so through this polarization, we still have a lot of community needs that are not being met in our country today, right? So we have everything from housing and shelter, right? Homelessness is a huge problem in this country, transportation and accessibility, community and economic development, health and well-being, general community building. And so all of these different issues continue to remain a need for individuals across the country. And that's where not-for-profits come into play. So it's the idea extending what I see as from John Locke's idea of limited government and the fact that the government by itself should not be intervening in all aspects of its citizens' lives, to seeing how this idea, this limited government, continues to propel a need that's not being met for many of its citizens, that give nonprofits a thriving opportunity to operate. Because these are independently run organizations that have a very specific mission to help improve the well-being and help improve the general status of a community. And so as you develop and grow your not-for-profit organization, this is the theory, this is the idea that you should keep in mind. Think back to what is it that the government is not so good at doing, or that the government can't handle, and how can we continue to make an impact, and how can we continue to deliver services or operationalize certain plans cost effectively and efficiently on behalf of the government or on behalf of its citizens. And so that's the underlying guidepost by which I recommend a lot of our established nonprofits look back to when they think about how do we grow from where we are right now? How do we take our current programs and expand it even more? Right? It's to take a look at your current environment and to see what is still the need right now, what's still not being met by the various different services and options that are being offered, whether it's through other nonprofits or whether it's through government agencies. And what do the citizens require in order to have society better? Now, like every other video, we like to end with a Be Careful segment where we talk about certain cautions that you should think about related to the idea of nonprofits and how to grow your nonprofits, speaking from personal experience in real life. The first thing is to be careful of different terms that you might see, right? So we're talking about not-for-profits here, and not-for-profits are mostly prevalent, and this term is mostly used in the United States. You may hear a lot the term NGO, or non-governmental organizations. The term NGO really started spreading when the United Nations organization was formed. And NGOs are primarily used internationally. That's one of the key differences between NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and not-for-profit organizations. Not-for-profits mainly serve primarily in the United States, although there are certainly not-for-profits in the United States that operate internationally, whereas most organizations that are based and operate mainly internationally refer to themselves as NGOs. That's just one of the various differences between NGOs and NPOs, or nonprofits. The next item to be careful of is nonprofits that are government-sponsored. So believe it or not, there are a lot of nonprofits out there that are just not what you think as independent nonprofits, but they're actually created by government agencies. So like, for example, your local Department of Health might actually form a separate independent not-for-profit organization under a different name with associated leadership, but it's actually run and managed by the Department of Health, by the government. And one of the reasons that governments might want to do this is to be able to have funding, because certain foundations may not like to provide grants directly to government agencies. And so to get around that, governments may develop associated or affiliated not-for-profit organizations to act as a vehicle to accept the foundation grants to allow that agency, the government agency, to further its work. Another item to be careful of is public-private partnerships. So nonprofits can be formed as a joint venture between private entities, that's saying for-profit private sector organizations, and with not-for-profit organizations. This is going down a slippery slope because maintaining the tax exemption status of the not-for-profit organizations in question is really a key thing to consider here. But certain not-for-profit organizations are actually run by for-profit organizations that develop a nonprofit arm or a nonprofit branch in order to further a very specific mission. And we've actually seen a lot of these organizations over at ChiuGroup. And then the last item to think about is privatization. And so with privatization, what it means is certain government functions are given to for-profit private sector companies in order to carry out. Now, if you have any questions about any of this, or if you'd like to think through which structure might work particularly for you as you grow your own nonprofit organization, or to just think about how to grow your own nonprofit organization in general, please reach out to me. This is my contact information. I'd love to hear from you. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to our channel. Please comment and like on this video so we can continue the discussion. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again next time.